Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Really excited for today's video. The beer is courtesy of Ross. Thanks so much, Ross. I really appreciate it. I'm basically always excited to try today's beer, but talk about a beer I'm really excited to try. So it's from Revolution, and it's Double Barrel V.S.O.D. Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. Double Barrel V.S.O.D. aged 2 years, extended barrel aging, 17% ABV, 1717. Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. Hey, here's something that won't be repeating myself. The absolute pinnacle of our, and it sounds like according to Revolution, it's pronounced Death, like teeth, not death. Death's Tar lineup, double barrel, very special old Death. That's what the V.S.O.D. stands for. Very special old Death. Sits at the intersection of extremity and sophistication. During the second year of aging, a small number of specially selected D-Star barrels are blended, then finished in fresh Weller Special Reserve barrels and Weller 10 barrels. 10-year barrels. Just get into it. I'm so excited. Yeah, and a surprise to no one, it's a very dark beer. I mean, it's 1 degree off of motor oil. Barely any head. It's sticking to the side of the glass more than the center. So, on camera it probably looks like it's got a little bit more head than it really does. It's probably like a quarter of a finger sticking on the side of the glass. It's maybe a hair light mocha. But yeah, man, I mean, that's a dark looking beer. You can see some legs sticking to the side of the glass. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Let's get into the aroma. It's Hershey's chocolate syrup mixed with some of their special dark chocolate, vanilla. You're getting that bourbon beautifully. So there's this spirit note. You're getting barrel specific things like the vanilla. That chocolate cannot be overstated. It is so desserty, and I know I say this a lot where I say, and I feel bad saying it, but like adult desserty, not just pastry stout when we put in the pastries, and I love those beers too. But like this has that desserty pastry element, more refined, if you will, from a more traditional brewing process, if you will, whatever thing you want to, however you want to say it, but it's that. Coconut, man, how did I miss that coconut the first time? Man, like very strong toasted coconut. So again, like this candy bar, desserty pastry thing. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it just... I was wondering how, like, wood forward it would be, how booze forward it would be. This is just, if you have the checklist of things you want to smell in a barrel-aged stout, a bourbon barrel-aged stout specifically, this hits the vast majority of it. And yeah, again, very syrupy. Let's get to the taste. Cheers. Thanks again, Ross. Yeah. Less coconut, but other than that, this follows the nose. Huge Hershey's chocolate syrup, and it does have that. I mean, it's not quite syrup viscosity, like real syrup, but for beer, it's approaching that. But also thin enough that I don't think it's going to be like taxing on the palate. At least for the first sip, I don't taste the alcohol, but I'm getting a ton of burn. But it's not the taste, which is good. All that chocolate, going back to actually what it tastes like, all that Hershey's syrup, but then you get the dark chocolate. But the dark chocolate's almost like just straight up chocolate powder, like cacao powder, I should say specifically. So you have that sweetness, but then there is like this, and again, use this word refined. There's like this refined chocolate element as well. Think of like a fancy dessert, even if it's something, like chocolate covered strawberries, and then you sprinkle some of that powder, like, again, cacao powder on top of it. It just adds another layer, that depth, but doesn't take away from the chocolates on the outside of the strawberry. That's what this does. No strawberry taste, but like the chocolate, that's what this does. This is me just explaining the chocolate note. Like that's how good this beer is and how much is going on in this beer, is I've spent all this time only talking about the chocolate. Again, the coconut dialed down from what I was getting the aroma, but there. Vanilla, so you're getting like the barrel things. Like the aroma, I'm not getting a ton of wood on the taste. I'm actually going to look for that in my next sip, because I would think with this much barrel aging, there'd have to be a lot of barrel specific, the wood specific. To go to the alcohol, again, I'm not getting on a taste, but I'm getting it in the chest, still a little bit in the chest. I think I'll get used to it. Man, that smell though. Great level of sweetness. Getting more of the coconut on that second sip. Some nice chocolate covered coffee beans. So it's roasty, but like it's not straight coffee. It's being cut with, again, that sweet chocolate specifically. But it does have this, just like, actually, like I was saying about the head, almost like a mocha thing, because it's that milky chocolate mixing with the coffee. Some dark fruit, but not as much as you might get in a beer of this style. And again, it's this desserty pastry thing without the beer actually having that stuff added. It's really delicious, and I can't overemphasize how excited I was to try this beer. Half the premise of this channel is when I drink hype beer, I try not to let the hype influence me. And I personally was super hyped, so excited to try this beer. And that's not clouding my judgment. It is living up to that hype in my own mind, for sure. Man, and just, that sweetness, without being cloyingly sweet, which is, I think, maybe the most impressive thing about this, is it could have been just a syrupy bomb of a beer, and maybe, some palate fatigue would set in. I don't see that happening. Man, that coconut. And yeah, definitely enough viscosity that like it does coat everything, that it helps make that flavor last and sit a while. It's a long sip. It's a long finish. So much chocolate. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean this is this is a really special beer. This is one of those ones I was like, I should save it for a special occasion. And then it just ends up sitting, right? So that turns into one of my cellar beers, right? So I'm like, no, there's nothing special about today. It's raining. It's a little, so I'm like, maybe like a stout would be nice on a rainy day, a little cooler than it has been. And this beer is doing that for me in a big way. Yeah, this is phenomenal. This is just so good. Yeah, so less of a beer review than really is just a love letter to this beer. So thanks again, Ross, for sending. I really appreciate it, man. I'm so glad I got to try this beer. It's blown my mind. Thank you guys for watching. If you had this beer before, what do you think of Revolution's barrel aging program? Anything, everything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once we're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untappd. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.